We'll call to order the regular meeting of Coralville City Council this Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. We're here at City Hall, Council Chambers. Roll call, please.
Knutson.
Here.
Vogelzang. Quinn.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Freeman.
Here. All council members are in attendance except Vogelzang is absent. Also in attendance are Deputy Administrator Havel, City Clerk Johnson, City Attorney Olson, and several staff in the audience. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Wynn, seconded by Knutson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. I will now proclaim Transgender Day of Visibility. Whereas transgender people are valued members of our community whose creativity, compassion, intelligence, and hard work strengthen and enrich the social and civil fabric of our city. And whereas Rachel Crandall Crocker, a licensed psychotherapist and 2009 founder of International Transgender Day of Visibility, to raise awareness for the incredible burden of discrimination and community faces in our setting imaginable, be it in the workplace, schools, or society, there is harassment and inequality. And whereas the need to bring a day of visibility for the transgender community is indicative of the oppression they face in many sectors of life. And whereas on Transgender Day of Visibility on March 31st, annually we recognize and revere their contributions to their families, neighborhoods, and society. We value their successes and relentless resilience in standing tall and strong. Now, therefore, I, Lori Goodrich, Mayor of the City of Coralville, Iowa, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2026 to be Transgender Day of Visibility in Coralville. Call upon all to join in lifting the lives and voices of transgender people throughout our city, and for us all to work together, eliminating discrimination and injustice. Signed this 24th day of March 2026, Lori Goodrich, Mayor. Is there someone here who would like to receive this proclamation and also speak with us?
Thank you. Amanda, can you help us? Hi, thank you. Whoops, here we go. My name is Tara McGovern. I'm a member of the Trans Advisory Committee of Johnson County. The Trans Advisory Committee of Johnson County was created by community members with the support of Johnson County Supervisor V. Fixmer-Arise and county staff in response to the arrest of 7 trans protesters in 2023. The committee's mission is to make life better and more comfortable for trans people in Johnson County and more broadly across the state. Among the core topics the Trans Advisory Committee addresses are medical access, safe space designations, youth engagement, and housing. As it is right now, there is nothing to prevent or protect trans people from being discriminated against when accessing housing. When Coralville Council passed the Equal Protections Resolution in October of 2025, Councillor Vogelzang expressed some skepticism about the need for housing protections for trans people. We appreciate Councillor Knutson's request in that moment for a show of hands from the people in the room who have faced housing discrimination, and there was, as we recall, a visible consensus. So we acknowledge and appreciate that moment. Among some of the achievements of the Trans Advisory Committee are securing funding for Iowa Trans Mutual Aid Fund to provide gender-affirming care through the Emma Goldman Clinic in Iowa City, a grant for Lavender Legal, enabling trans people to more affordably access needlessly expensive name changes, aiding in the equal protection resolutions passed in Johnson County, Iowa City, and Coralville, an ongoing bathroom mapping project embarked upon to help the trans community to have safer access to public bathroom facilities. More recently, establishing a more robust social media presence so that people in the community can find us if they'd like to get involved. Another ongoing task is keeping abreast of legislative challenges endangering the trans community. The most recent example being the governor signing Senate File 579, banning local civil rights protections. Councillor Freeman is one of the only local electeds I know of who traveled to Des Moines to testify against banning local protections. And they were quoted by Iowa Public Radio as saying, "If you are unwilling to recognize the value of protecting gender identity at the state level, let the communities that understand that value do so on our own." I see that statement as being core to the work of the Trans Advisory Committee. Regardless of one individual's signature on an evil bill, the inherent value of trans Iowans is immutable, and the people will always stand up to protect and celebrate each other. Another core value of the Trans Advisory Committee is that the work we are doing for ourselves and for each other is collaborative and inclusive. Nothing about us without us is a centuries-old phrase popularized by disability justice movements several decades ago to communicate that nothing should be decided by any outside representative without the full and direct participation of the members of the affected group. We asked to be a part of the process preparing this proclamation, and we were denied that privilege. But as I alluded to before, the people have the power. We add to your proclamation, whereas the human rights of transgender people are under attack across the country, and there are multiple laws currently on the books restricting the rights of transgender Iowans. Whereas we commit to continuing the fight for equal access and equal protection for all transgender people. And I call upon all of you to do that work. This should not have fallen upon our one transgender elected, of whom we are very proud. So we have a lot of work yet to do in this community. The Trans Advisory Committee invites anyone who's interested to an open house tomorrow, March 25th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at Sacred Collective in Iowa City. We will have buttons, resources, snacks, and a zine station. Come celebrate and learn about our work.
Thank you for your comments. I feel that we did incorporate your ideas and thoughts. Go ahead.
No, we were going to take a picture.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't realize you were.
I'm wondering if you would like to have a picture.
We would love to invite anyone
Anybody who
who
would
is
like
an
to be
ally
in the
to join us.
photo, you're welcome to come into the photo. Oh, no, I mean, I'm ready.
That's right, Kelly's not here to take Squeeze in there. Here, just use mine.
Okay, ready? You ready?
Next, we're going to get up again, council here, because we are going to be updated and entertained by the Coralville Center for Performing Arts, and they are going to give us a show. So we're going to move back with all of you so they can have the stage. This is with Sherry Proud and Evan Hilsbeck.
Thank you.
Mayor, do you want me to speak first, or would you like them to perform first?
Oh, I didn't have that on my agenda.
That's okay, I can do it either way.
It's great, you're right there, we will listen, standing back.
All right, sounds good. Mayor Goodrich and members of City Council and elected officials and members of City Administration who are with us, thank you so much for being here today. One of the things that we are celebrating this season at the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts is our 15th season telling stories here in Coralville. During 15 years, we have had thousands of performances and nearly 500,000 members of our community enter the CCPA to experience storytelling at a local level from artists across the world. Last year, as you remember, we were here with our newest program, Footlighters Imagination Studio, presenting some penguins and some puppets. Tonight will be very different. We have members of Jesus Christ Superstar with us tonight who will be singing. But I wanted to give you a quick update on that Young Footlighters program that we met last year, and then tell you a little bit about what's happening at City Circle. Last year, our Fizz team was just beginning its first season touring to local elementary schools. This year, they are in their second season, and tomorrow we'll be launching that tour of Curious George in 6 local elementary schools, as well as up at the Williams Center for the Performing Arts in Olwine, a partnership whose profits are enabling us to bring this program to all of our partner schools here in Coralville without charge. We also performed for all of the first graders in the Iowa City Community School District this fall through the Any Given Child program with Junie B. Jones. And this year, since I was here last time, our education program with Young Footlighters has reached 1,400 local students in camps and classes, an additional 600 across Iowa, and every 6th grader in the Iowa City School District with interactive programming in the classrooms. So we're very pleased to be able to provide that update. But tonight, I wanted to share with you City Circle Theater Company, our resident community theater, which since 1998 has been Coralville's community theater, adopted in that year by the Coralville City Council and a part of the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts since 2014. This year, we're in the midst of our best-selling season since the COVID pandemic. We're 3 shows in with 12 Angry Jurors, which performed here in this space, followed by White Christmas and now Jesus Christ Superstar performing at the Center for the Performing Arts. During that time, we've sold more than 5,000 tickets this fall and into the early part of the spring, and our volunteers at City Circle Theater Company have dedicated more than 13,600 volunteer hours to making those shows possible. We've also experienced 2 great seasons bringing Circle's Edge out into our community with shows like Red at Brush and Barrel and The Weir at Pat and Franz, and as I mentioned, 12 Angry Jurors here, finding ways to bring storytelling outside our walls into the community. And we're excited to share that next season we have 4 great productions coming up, celebrating in the fall, opening on September 11th by coincidence, but which will be the 25th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. We will be the first community theater here in the corridor to present Come From Away, the best-selling Broadway musical celebrating the remarkable lives of the people of Gander on that day. At the holidays, we'll have Shrek, followed by Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma, and ending the season with Stephen Sondheim's Into the Woods. So we look forward to inviting you back for those performances. Thank you so much for your support over the last 15 years and more of City Circle Theater Company and the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts. We are so grateful to tell these stories here in Coralville. Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome Rishi Wagle, who is the music director for Jesus Christ Superstar, and Ethan Glenn playing Judas Iscariot. They are here to perform for you Heaven on Their Minds. Oh, sorry, I have additional members of the production that I didn't see there behind them, including Shelby Zukin and Christian Drollinger and Zach Kenyon, who's also a board member for us. We're also joined tonight by other members of the City Circle Board, the Young Footlighters Board, members of the Coralville Arts Commission, and Elizabeth Tracy, who is the artistic producer and the director for this production. And let me welcome to the stage Rishi and Ethan for Heaven on Their Minds.
My mind is clearer now. At last, all too well, I can see where we all soon will be. When you strip away the myth from the man, you will see where we all soon will be. Jesus! You started to believe the things they say of you. You really do believe this talk of God is true. And all the good you've done will soon get swept away. You've begun to matter more than the things you say. All I ask is that you listen to me and remember I've been your right-hand man all along. You have set them all on fire. They think they found a new Messiah, and they'll hurt you when they find they're wrong. I remember when this whole thing began. No talk of God, then we called you a man. And believe me, my admiration for you hasn't died. But every word you say today gets twisted round some other way. And they'll hurt you if they think you've lied. Nazareth, your famous son, should have stayed a greater, known like his father, carving wood he'd have made good. Tables, chairs, and oaken chests would have suited Jesus best. He'd have caused nobody harm, no one alarm. Listen, Jesus, do you care for your race? Don't you see we must keep in our place? We are occupied. Have you forgotten how put down we are? I am frightened by the crowd, for we are getting much too loud. And they'll crush us if we go too far. If we go too far. Listen, Jesus, to the warning I give. Please remember that I want us to live. And it's sad to see our chances weakening with every hour. All your followers are blind. Too much heaven on their minds. It was beautiful, but now it's sour. Yes, it's all gone sour. Listen, Jesus, to the warning I give. Please remember that I want us to live. Come on, come on. He won't listen to me. Oh, he won't listen to me. It's all gone sour.
Well, as we settle in, we want to thank you for making this your stage tonight. Thank you so much. I look forward to attending on Saturday night at the CCPA. Evan Hilseback and his group. Thanks so much. If we're ready, now's the time for community comments, and this is an opportunity for members of the public to speak directly to the council about items pertinent to the city of Coralville and does not have a scheduled hearing. Open meeting laws did not allow the council to engage in discussion or debate at this time, but we do appreciate hearing your thoughts and concerns. So please step up to the podium, sign in, stand close to the microphone, and speak no longer than 5 minutes. We have about 15 minutes or so for this portion of the meeting. Would anyone like to speak with us this evening?
Good evening. My name is Allison Bywater. I'm speaking tonight to express my deep disappointment that once again members of the transgender community and their allies have had to advocate for something as basic as a proclamation recognizing Trans Day of Visibility, especially at a time when transgender Iowans have been repeatedly targeted at the state level through an escalating series of legislative actions. Against this backdrop, the need for local leadership to clearly and proactively affirm transgender residents is essential. The absence of that initiative is felt. More broadly, I want to be clear that this moment reflects a pattern that has left me increasingly concerned about the direction of leadership in Coralville. As a resident and parent of a gender-diverse child, I am paying close attention to how and when the city chooses to act. The decisions being made and the hesitation surrounding them communicates volumes. It is my understanding that there was reluctance to move forward with this proclamation stemming from fear of potential political consequences or rocking the boat at the state level. If that is the case, I find it deeply troubling. Leadership requires more than caution. It requires courage. It means standing firm and advocating for your community, even when doing so may carry risk. Passing a resolution months ago affirming trans rights to now ho-hum about a proclamation recognizing Trans Day of Visibility makes your past supportive actions feel shallow. I urge you to reflect on the responsibility that comes with your role and to act with conviction and integrity, not fear.
My name is Katie James, and I have lived in Coralville now for 9 years. I moved back to the area in 2017 because my then child, who was 10 years old, came out as transgender. And we were living in rural Iowa in a farming community that I'm from, that I love, that I was raised in. But I recognized that it wasn't the best place to give my son the best start in life. So we came to this area because we know that Iowa City and Coralville, this area, has a rich tradition of being supportive of people who are othered and live on the fringes of society. And I don't regret that. It's been hard, but he's now 19 years old and thriving, and I don't know if he would even be here if we weren't able to move to this area and offer him the support and acceptance that we know belongs and is the spirit of Johnson County. It's very important that we do preserve and acknowledge the rights of our transgender loved ones, neighbors, selves, at a time when a lot of people are leaving Iowa. And I'm not gonna lie, I tried to get him to leave with me over the last few years. A few times I've said, hey, is this the place for us? Is this the safest place for you to be? And he's like, I love it here. I love this state. I love this area. And I feel safer here because of the people and the connections that I've made and the support that this community has to offer. And we have work to do, but we can't let one of the few places and bright spots in Iowa left for our citizens go out. And I just want to say thank you for recognizing TDOV. It's a very important day, and we need to keep working towards better supporting our marginalized loved ones and neighbors. That's all. Thank you.
My name is Amanda. Yeah, that's way smarter. Before this meeting, someone asked, I don't understand why you're making such a big deal out of this, out of Trans Day of Visibility. I wish that we didn't have to keep talking about it too. Seriously, everybody who's here that understands wishes that we could stop talking about this. I'm 45 years old. I've lived in Iowa my whole life. I've lived through having surgery with a homophobic doctor who made comments right before I went under for emergency surgery. I've lived through obscene questions on medical forms that ask things in incredibly insensitive ways. I have been denied the right to marriage when literally the only reason was the gender of myself and my partner. All of this has happened in my lifetime. And now we're watching, I was at the Iowa Capitol screaming with every ounce of my being, chanting with thousands of people, more people than they have ever seen at that Capitol. And they still took away our civil rights. That's the first time ever in the country that a group has been removed from a Civil Rights Act. That's obscene. That triggers genocidal actions, literally. We're seeing ICE agents rip families apart. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what papers they have. It doesn't matter if it's illegal. And we're watching ICE agents be deployed into airports so people can't even leave safely. We need Trans Day of Visibility for these reasons. I wish that we didn't have to keep talking about it. Thank you.
Hello. Hello? Is this? I'm sorry, I haven't done this for years. Perfect. Yeah, I'm just here to register my profound disappointment in you, Mayor Goodrich, that my dear friend had to fight so freaking hard.
She didn't. Go ahead. They didn't have to fight.
They didn't get their damn gender.
Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it?
I apologize.
Yeah. I think you should do more than that.
I wrote a transgender proclamation that was uplifting to the community. I tried very hard to please everyone. I cannot please everyone. I wrote a transgender proclamation. I just want you all to know that. I did not fight that. It was not my time to speak, and I apologize for that also, but I just can't sit here and listen to this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're welcome to speak.
Just turn the mic back on, please.
The mic got turned off, I think.
Thank you.
I see. Yeah. Oops. Like I said, it's been a while. You did the proclamation after you had to be fought to do that, tooth and nail. Yeah. Just these people, as the previous speaker said, acts of genocide happening right now, and you had to fight to get just a proclamation. Come on. Come on.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak with us this evening? We have a few minutes left. Thank you, Tara.
I'd just like to provide a timeline.
It's okay, Tara.
So our first trans elected official in Coralville, the wonderful Katie Freeman, who we're very proud of and who we appreciate so much, asked Mayor Goodrich to do a Trans Day of Visibility proclamation, and the mayor agreed. And then the mayor changed her mind and said, no, not this year. And then I spent a day of my life sending emails, and a lot of other people sending emails asking you to reconsider. And then you relented. And then I, 10 days ago, sent you an email acknowledging errors in the past Trans Day of Visibility proclamation and asking for edits. And you emailed me back saying, I have a proclamation for Coralville's Trans Day of Visibility prepared. And then a different member of the Trans Advisory Committee sent you an email asking to see a draft, and you said to her, our staff has been on vacation, I will ask them to prepare it. And then yesterday, just before 5 p.m., you sent the proclamation that you'd prepared, and last night we sent our suggested edits, and you never replied. So I think it's unfair for you to say that I did not have to fight for this. I should not have had to fight for this. Katie, sure as damn sure, should not have had to fight for this. You all need to do better.
Thank you for your comments. I heard you. Okay, we will move on to number 7, bonds, public hearing. This is to finance costs for extending, widening, improving construction, and repairing water, sewer, streetscape, flood protection, remediation projects, and other infrastructure improvements. I'll now open the public hearing on general obligation, essential corporate purpose loan agreements. Is there anyone who would like to speak with us? Are there any written?
No written.
I will now close the public hearing and consider the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing one or more loan agreements and providing for the levy of taxes to pay the same. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Comments by council? Roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. Number 8, the Iowa River Power public hearing. We'll hear from our Community Development Department. Dave?
Thank you. Let me just pull up the image I have for this. So the Iowa River Power Building is in the process of a historic rehabilitation effort. This effort will result in the property being put back into service again as a restaurant and event space. There's also a bakery tentatively planned in this space. The building will also be listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The project is a historic tax credit project. The exterior and interior design of historic tax credit projects are closely scrutinized and regulated by the State Historic Preservation Office underneath the Iowa Economic Development and Finance Authority. Because of this, the City of Coralville has deferred exterior design review of the building to the state of Iowa. SHPO's requirements for rehabilitation of historic structures will preserve the historic character of the building necessary for eligibility for the National Register of Historic Places. When I say SHPO, that's just the acronym for State Historic Preservation Office. The applicant is requested to rezone from the I-3 General Industrial District to the CPUD2 Commercial Plan Unit Development 2 District and approval of a PUDB site plan. This property has been used commercially for decades and has been nonconforming with the industrial zoning district. It's been used commercially for decades. The property is undergoing a substantial improvement, and the PUD rezoning and site plan will allow the developer to customize the commercial use and setbacks for the existing building. The proposed CPUD2 Commercial Plan Unit Development 2 District and restaurant use can be considered consistent with the Coralville Community Plan Land Use Map designation of corridor commercial. In short, the property will have compliant zoning for the proposed use and building setbacks. The Iowa River Power Building is a historic structure. As such, these structures require some degree of flexibility in codes to keep these buildings viable. This is true To the extent that the international building community has adopted specific building code standards for existing buildings, which acknowledge alternative means and methods to achieve comparable levels of safety, the same approach needs to be applied for zoning. Without that applied understanding, historic buildings are left vacant and often become a source of blight in communities. Keeping businesses and people in historic buildings must be paramount to any community's approach to historic preservation. Staff did not approach review this project like new construction. The approach city staff took in reviewing this project was how to enhance the site to the greatest extent possible while maintaining traffic, parking, and circulation controls. The biggest point of discussion on this project has been parking. The proposed floor area is 25,000 square feet. Of that, 20,542 square feet of space will be used for a restaurant, event space, bakery, and social club. The remainder of spaces are service areas which are non-occupiable, such as mechanical rooms and storage area. City code requires 1 parking stall for every 100 square feet of floor area. If this were new construction, the parking requirements would be 205 parking stalls. If this were new construction, projects and lot sizes could also be scaled accordingly. There is no room for parking expansion, and the former as well as the proposed parking lot configuration continues to be the best configuration to maximize parking given the lot constraints. The former restaurant had 162 parking stalls. 24 of those are on the south side of the building. Mid-American Energy had previously allowed restaurant employees and patrons to use the space on the south side of the building, which is this area here, but to a larger extent. Since that time, Mid-American has reduced the amount of space they will allow for parking, which resulted in a reduction in the total number of parking stalls. To help mitigate that, city staff is supporting allowing perimeter parking islands and 1 interior parking island to be removed and converted to parking stalls. Removing the perimeter parking islands and revisions to the parking lot geometry gain back stalls, and the final count will be 150 stalls. This is 12 less than the previous restaurant operated under. In exchange for the flexibility of the perimeter parking lot islands, they are proposing enhanced landscaping around the perimeter of the parking lot. Staff has also reviewed the plat, and that has been prepared to consolidate a number of easements, access easements that have been done over the years. And it also consolidates multiple auditors' parcels into 1 legal lot. We've reviewed the final plat and finds that it conforms with the requirements for preparation and filing. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on March 4th, and by a vote of 6-0, the commission recommended to rezone from the I-3 General Industrial District to the CPUD2 Commercial Plan Unit Development 2 District and approve a PUDB site plan and final plat for Iowa River Power. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I'll now open the public hearing on rezoning Iowa River Power from 1-3 General Industrial District to CPUD2 Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District and the PUDB site plan. Is there anyone who would like to? Yes, here you are, ready to speak to us. I was looking down. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is James Kincaid. I'm a civil engineer with Axiom Consultants. We prepared the drawings that we're looking at today, and representing ownership and applicant, also joined by Mr. Mark Kaufman, ownership of the building. Thank you, Dave, for the wonderful introduction to a quite nuanced rehab project and the associated site improvements. I just want to give a huge thank you to Dave, Corville Planning, Corville Engineering, and the whole smattering of administrative staff that has helped the efforts go along with this rehab project. It is certainly nuanced and has been a challenge. As Dave mentioned, the building itself is a historic kind of landmark for the area, as I'm sure a lot of folks understand it to be. There are a tremendous amount of efforts going into the building itself to bring that into a habitable space, bring it back to some former glory. The rezoning and the final plat and the PUD site plan are here tonight as an extension of those efforts done to the building, looking to do those to the site itself. As Dave mentioned, the lot itself is extraordinarily odd. It is a layout that could never find itself to be proposed if it were new build. The PUD process lets these sorts of changes and nuanced, non-conforming things to be made, or to be zoned and to work and to fit the needs of historic buildings that should be brought back to life in the way that this one is. I have a small litany list of things I want to highlight to what I'm going to call the north part of the parking lot, which is what we're looking at here, and then we'll look at the south side, which is kind of adjacent to the building in that Mid-American lot. On the north side, if you get us there, as Dave mentioned, the existing lot, if you were to drive by it today, is non-conforming to current City of Coralville standards in the way of drive aisle width, parking stall dimensions, and some other, parking stalls in line of each other, things like that. So there was a tremendous amount of effort back and forth between engineering staff and city staff to get to the final layout here with some concessions on both sides. We're omitting a few islands in the interior and exterior areas, but really compensating that loss of some green space inside the parking lot with a substantial amount of landscaping that's going to be on the west side of the property. We've had really great communication back and forth with the railroad to make sure that this is all okay with them, and that is seen as sort of the trade to bring the parking lot into current standards. With that comes a much better feeling about safety, both for vehicle travel and pedestrian travel. You can see mid-span here, the pedestrian crossing going east-west to get people from the path to the Riverside walking path has been enhanced. Going to bring that up into something that's much more comfortable, something more standard that you would see in new construction. If you could get us to the south side, there's a handful of improvements made to the front of the building, and as well as that drive-in area, the ingress and egress areas, where the building has traditionally had not a lot of frontage space for pedestrian gathering or people to sit outside even. That has totally changed with the new concept, as well as given a lot more safety specifically to the ADA parking stalls. The proposed parking lot shows 5 proposed ADA stalls, which is 2 more than the existing configuration. We've given a pedestrian refuge right in the middle there to get those ADA stall users more safely into the front of the building. I want to draw some attention to what is now a substantial east-west crossing for pedestrians to get from the First Ave public sidewalk through the parking lot and to that bridge stair area much more safely and with a much more direct route through our parking lot, where there previously was much less infrastructure to sort of facilitate that action. With the proposed improvements and the final plat, all the existing public access easements will remain, as well as all of the city-required flood wall access easements will remain, as well as the various litany, or there's a lot of easements for lots of private and public utilities that pass through this lot. All of that will remain. The final plat is really to bring the mess of a few lots into a single conforming lot to help ourselves now and to help future surveyors, honestly. And the last thing I want to point at here is again some kind of increased ability and safety with vehicles coming in and out with that pedestrian crossing right in front. There's a much safer queuing area for vehicles leaving, as well as queuing for coming in and dropping off patrons, and then finding yourself parked in the parking lot. As Dave mentioned, the parking has been kind of the critical consideration for the whole exterior improvements for this project. I do want to remind that the proposed uses, that being bakery, an event space, a restaurant, and then what we're thinking to be some sort of social club, they have varying peak times. The operating understanding has been that the previous tenants, when it was operational, were 2 restaurants. It will be a similar use case with what we feel is a very similar amount of parking provided for the patrons of either of those. There's the south lot, as Dave mentioned, there has been a little bit of loss of parking stalls down there due to Mid-Am kind of asking for some more space. That has historically been a leased parking lot between the ownership of IRP and Mid-Am. We have cleaned up significantly what that area looks like as far as mechanical and sort of refuse back there to make that a much more appealing project while still adhering to the SHPO requirements. I think that's everything I've got. I appreciate everyone's letting me get through kind of the summary of what we're proposing. I'm certainly available for any questions associated with the engineering behind it, how we got to this place, and I know that Mark is available to answer any questions about the building itself or the project as a whole.
Any questions, comments?
I guess I have a question. There's kind of an overflow area, Riverview Square across the street. I know it's not technically an overflow area, but it might get used that way. Any thought to what the impact?
You're talking about the parking lot across the street?
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah. In that square kind of.
Yeah, I think similarly to where this project finds itself, it's a privately owned parking lot. Mm-hmm. People will come and use this as a trailhead sometimes. In both cases, it would be the ownership of those parking lots to police those as they would. It's a common grievance with things like this. I know that the ownership of this building is amicable to, if those become a problem with the current tenants, look for solutions for that. But when we're dealing with privately owned parking lots like this, the suggestion, at least for me as an engineer, is to look to solutions, signage about who's allowed to use, when you're allowed to use it, things like that.
Yeah. I guess there's city parking a block further down.
Yes, certainly.
That wouldn't be.
And there's lots of trail connections to the south and the north of this, so what's implicitly there already lends itself to sort of those overflow, as you mentioned, areas to park and still get to the features that are connected here.
I guess I have a question. That, like you said, a lot of people use that as a trailhead for those trails and getting back there. And, from the original design, I was there when you did the open house, a walkthrough, and with the bakery and stuff. Will you have area to, bike racks to put bikes? Because I could see a lot of people biking to this just because of the way it's designed with the trailheads and the open space in front of the bakery and that type of stuff. And I think it's probably going to be more appealing for people to ride their bicycle there as opposed to drive. So
it's a wonderful idea, not a consideration made as part of the zoning as far as the use requiring X amount of bicycle stalls. I think it's a wonderful idea. Certainly, we've fostered a community that likes to bike, and this area lends itself to that. I have to imagine if the tenants see that as something that would bring more business, that would be something they would be interested in implementing, yes.
Well, this is a beautiful historic venue, and we're just so grateful to you for taking it on. And I know it's just going to be wonderful. It's great that even to talk about the parking here is really shows us how considerate you are of all the details. And we appreciate you, Dave, working with them and the whole development of all this. I will now close the public hearing and consider the ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 2026-1005, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 2020-1009 is previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Iowa River Power from I-3 General Industrial District to CPUD 2 Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District. This ordinance introduced for first consideration by Councilmember Quinn, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. I think we've made our comments and so on. Is there a roll call, please?
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman. Aye. Knutson.
Aye.
Great. Roll call passes, all ayes. So the ordinance passes. Let's see, next we have number 9, Oakdale Research Park public hearing. And we also have from Dave Johnson, our Community Development Department report. And the Planning and Zoning report.
Thank you, Mayor Goodrich. The University of Iowa Research Park Corp. is in the process of updating the UI Research Park covenants and design standards. At the onset of that effort, UI Research Park Corp. staff reached out to us to coordinate this effort and better align the development standards for the research park with our city code. The outcome of this effort will result in a more coordinated and aligned direction and development standards for future businesses that want to locate in the research park. This will create an overlay zoning district that will codify the updated UI Research Park covenants and design standards to serve as a master development plan with land use and building and site design standards. This will also align these development standards with City of Coralville development standards. Excuse me again. Staff has been consulted in the development of the updated land uses and standards. Essentially, this modernizes the allowed uses and design standards to reflect the goals of the park Corp, I should say, while maintaining or remaining in keeping with the fundamental tenets of the park. I've provided on the screen here, this is also available online in the City Council information. It's also been provided councilor packet. I won't go over a point-by-point comparison. However, there is an analysis of current allowed uses versus proposed allowed uses, as well as current setback requirements and proposed setback requirements. These charts, in short, the proposed setback changes will result in a front yard setback of 25 feet instead of the previously required 50-foot setback, a side yard setback of 20 feet instead of the previously required 25 feet, and a parking lot setback of 10 feet instead of the previously allowed 20 feet. You'll see when looking at this, this really is just an evolution of the original tenants and vision for this park. It modernizes things. I do believe we may have some representatives from the UI Research Park Corp. Who could speak better to this than I could. I would just note, I would just close by saying the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this request at their March 4th meeting. And by a vote of 6-0, the commission recommended to rezone the Oakdale Research Park from the I-1 Research Office Industrial District, the IPUD 2, Industrial Plan Unit Development 2 District, and the C2 Arterial Commercial District to the IPUD 1 Industrial Plan Unit Development District. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now open the public hearing.
Mayor, Council, thank you so much. My name is Austin Corns. I am the Associate Director of Economic Development for the University of Iowa Office of Innovation. The Office of Innovation also oversees the Research Park here in Coralville. I'm here to voice my support for the this change to the zoning and the support of the Research Park Corporation. This has been roughly a 1-year-long process. We've been working with the city's staff since the very beginning throughout this process. If you look in the packet, Dave even included the previous covenants that we were working from. They were created in 1988 and haven't been updated since then. So you can see some typewritten covenants in there. But as you can imagine, and as Dave said, they were deeply in need of some modernization. They still followed the same vision. We still have the same vision for the park as we have for a long time, but basic standards have changed. And when this was passed in 1988, we didn't have tools like PUDs to rely on for aligning our zoning and covenants for something like this. And when we decided we were going to take on this endeavor, we thought it would be a really good opportunity to utilize this tool to make sure that we have one-to-one alignment between the zoning for the research park and the new covenants and design standards for the research park. That gives us a few different advantages that we didn't have before. One of the big issues we had, there weren't major things that differentiated between the old covenants and the three different zoning types that Dave mentioned, but there were minor differences that made it so if you were trying to build something out there, it was pretty tough to know exactly what you had to do. Doing that side-by-side comparison, figuring out which one had the higher standard, it made it a little bit harder to do business than we would prefer. And this creates some alignment that will make it very clear what is and isn't allowed out of the park. It also codifies some higher design standards that we really would like to see met out of the park, and that's with things like building materials and things like that. You can see some examples of the types of buildings that we and the types of building materials that we envision for the future of the park. So that's one side. Then also, the Research Park Corporation doesn't have a planning department. We don't have a code enforcement department. We have to rely on the city for those types of for those teams and that type of enforcement. And having this one-to-one alignment is really going to help us be able to work hand in hand with the city and ensure that the vision that we've drawn up as a team is also what is enacted out at the park. So I think Dave did a great job showing kind of the side-by-side there. I don't have anything else to add on top of that. I'm happy to answer any questions, though, that you might have.
Anyone in the audience? Questions? It's a public hearing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Austin. You explained very well. I'll now close the public hearing and consider the ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 2026-1006, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 2020-1009, is previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as the Oakdale Research Park, from I-1 Research Office Industrial District, I-PUD2 Industrial Plan Unit Development 2 District, and C2 Arterial Commercial District to I-PUD1 Industrial Planned Unit Development 1 District. This ordinance introduced for first consideration by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Seconded by Freeman. Roll call, please.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
All ayes, ordinance passes. We're on number 10 now, Lot 2, CFA addition. And this is another public hearing, and we'll hear from Dave again on the Community Development Report and Planning and Zoning Commission Report.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. This property is already zoned CPUD2, Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District, and is designated as corridor commercial on the Coralville Community Land Use Plan map. Therefore, we're really just looking at the site plan and building design with this application. The commercial zoning district and land use designation supports a drive-through restaurant use at this location. The site is 1.77 acres, and the proposed restaurant is 5,207 square feet. It seats 90 people inside and 16 people outside in a patio area near the southwest corner of the building. This is a double drive-through restaurant with canopies typical of a Chick-fil-A development. 50 parking stalls are required, 73 are proposed. Pedestrian access to the sidewalk adjacent to First Avenue is provided in the southeast corner of the plan, and a bike rack is located where the First Street walkway connects to the drive. The development will have a shared drive with future development to the south. The site is well landscaped. It meets all the headlight screening and landscaping requirements in city code. It's 19 deciduous trees, 41 evergreen trees, and over 280 shrubs and grasses in this development. Building materials consist of predominantly brick and glass. There's a picture of that. And meet the commercial design requirements outlined in city code. And a matching brick dumpster enclosure with opaque metal doors is also being provided. The project meets all applicable site and building design requirements in city code. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this request at their March 4th meeting, and by a vote of 6-0, the commission recommended to approve the PUDB site plan for Lot 2 CFA addition to Coralville. That's all I have.
Thank you. We'll open the public hearing on this proposed PUDB site plan for Lot 2 CFA, which is Chick-fil-A. Thank you. Can we hear from you, please?
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Joe Vavrino with HR Green, civil engineer on this project, as well as representing Chick-fil-A tonight. I just want to take a minute just to thank staff for all their help along the way. Dave and the rest of the staff has been instrumental to get us to tonight, essentially. And it's been a long time coming for Chick-fil-A. I've been working with Chick-fil-A for over 16 years, and we have looked at numerous sites over the years. And just for whatever reason, either it didn't work for Chick-fil-A or it didn't meet the city's requirements until we found this site. This site, checks all the boxes for Chick-fil-A as well as meets the city's requirements. We feel this will be a great addition to the city. Chick-fil-A is just so proud to be a partner, with the city as well. Here to answer any questions you all might have with the design, elevations, whatever you might have. I can certainly address those for you guys, but thank you.
Thank you.
Chick-fil-A is a franchise, correct?
Correct.
Is it a franchise? So this is a second location beside the one in the mall, or this one replaced the one in the mall?
It is a franchise, but not in the sense that you might think a franchise is. So Chick-fil-A, it's an owner-operator agreement where Chick-fil-A will still own the dirt and they'll own the store, but the operator will run the business. So some of the operators will have the ability to operate 2 stores. I'm not sure if this one will be the same operator as the one in the mall, but that very well may be. I just don't know.
Thanks.
Do you happen to know if it's a local operator?
I do not know.
Okay.
I had a question. I don't know if that's for you or for David, but it mentions that 50 parking stalls are required, but there are 73 proposed. Can you speak as to why more parking?
Chick-fil-A's market demand is actually higher than the minimum requirements in our city code.
Would you like to advocate for they're only required for 50? Less parking, more trees? Parking a little bit more shaded since they're probably going to be primarily drive-through.
Any other comments? Thank you, Brad.
Can you clarify, the entrance is going to be at 7th Street, right? Is that
Correct.
That will line up with that stoplight there?
Correct.
Okay, good.
And there's a shared access easement shown on the final plat.
Has that been taken care of?
That's been taken care of, and that access easement is going to provide access for future development on the lots to the south.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing and consider the resolution, please.
Resolution approving the PDB site plan for Lot 2 CFA addition, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for consideration by Councilmember Freeman, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. Roll call, please.
Freeman.
I want to say thank you to the staff and everybody who put this together, and for none of those reasons, I'm going to say nay.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 yes and 1 no. Resolution passes. Lots on 11, we have again lots 1 and 2 CFA addition. And Dave will give us the Community Development Report and Planning and Zoning Commission report, please.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Not much to add here. Other than staff has reviewed the final plat, we do find that it conforms with the requirements for preparation and filing. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this at their March 4th meeting and found and recommended to approve the final plat for lots 1 and 2 CFA addition to Coralville. Thank you.
Okay. We'll consider the resolution now approving the final plat.
Resolution approving the final plats for lots 1 and 2 CFA addition, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Peterson. Comments? Roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Nay.
Resolution passes 3 ayes, 1 no. Okay, on 12, Lot 3, IRL Parkview, Part 3. This resolution accepts the public improvements for the IRL Parkview Lot 3 and releases the subdivision from liens for those public improvements, including the sidewalks pursuant to the subdividers agreement. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution accepting public improvements constructed in IRL Parkview, Lot 3, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Freeman. Comments? Roll call, please.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. 13, fiscal year 2027 budget. Please consider the resolution.
Resolution setting a public hearing for the fiscal year 2027 budget. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Comments?
Will this be another like early meeting?
No, this
then?
doesn't have to be, this can be at this, at regular time, yeah. This was just this, yeah.
Just
no.
making sure I have
Yes.
it on my calendar.
Nope, 6:30 is fine, yep.
Remind me when the Iowa legislature stops getting paid? Starts getting their per diem. Is it before this?
Yeah.
I think it's about a month from now.
Yeah.
End
What's
of
that?
April.
I think it's about a month from
End of
now
April.
that they lose their per
So
diem.
we may or may not have an answer in terms of.
Correct.
I believe it's a 100-day session, so mid to early to mid-April.
Yeah. Maybe tax day.
And this is the last, is this our last
I was thinking
opportunity to vote
21st,
on our
maybe it's
budget, or
110
could
day
we
session.
vote in May?
This is the public
you have to have
hearing.
it. You have to have it certified with the auditor and the Department of Management by end of April.
End of April.
So you can't go over into May. So the 28th is the last hurrah. We'll put it that way.
Well, the 31st.
April 31st, huh?
30th. Yeah.
That's why I said end of April. I didn't do it fast.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call, please.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Number 14, 4th Avenue Place Utility Improvements CDBG Program Application. Consider the resolution, please, set for setting the public hearing.
Resolution setting a public hearing on an application to the Iowa Economic Development Authority for Community Development Block Grant Program funding for the 4th Avenue Place utility improvements. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Freeman, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Discussion?
I would just note, this is to improve, for a grant to improve very old private water line and dilapidated sewer line on 4th Avenue Place to serve the apartments at the north end of that. It would also put in redundancy for fire service, and along with that, we would get a replaced street as part of that. So this will be our second application. We're hopeful that perhaps we could be successful this time. And that public hearing is the April 14th, the first meeting in April.
You said it's privately owned?
It was built as part of the private development, but as you might recall, the city now owns property on both sides of that street, so there's an agreement along with that we are responsible for helping to maintain that, and it needs to be replaced. And we really need to do that before we can do any construction on those properties.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. 15, Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive Roundabout. Consider the resolution accepting bids and awarding contract,
Do you
please.
want to have Scott go through the bids first?
There you are.
Okay.
Great. Scott Larson.
Did it once before, but
Yeah. Just do it one more time.
yeah. So back on March 3rd, we received 5 bids. The high bid was 1.673 million, and the low bid from Midwest Concrete Incorporated was 1.299 million. The engineer's estimate was 1.448 million. I mentioned last time we are familiar with Midwest Concrete. They last did work for the city of Coralville on the Camp Cardinal Boulevard Trail project three years ago or so, and they are also the subcontractor, the paving subcontractor on the City of North Liberty's Forever Green Road and Jasper Avenue roundabout project that is just about to get underway also. So I recommend awarding the contract to Midwest Concrete Incorporated.
Very good. Now, let's consider the resolution, please.
Resolution accepting bids and awarding the contract for the Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive roundabout. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Wynn. Discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Now we'll consider the resolution approving the contract and bond documents.
Resolution approving the contract and bond documents for the Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive roundabout. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Quinn, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Freeman. And any discussion? Roll call, please.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. We'll stick with us, everybody. We're on number 16, property, liability, auto, and cyber insurance renewals. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution approving the Iowa Communities Assurance Pool as the city's insurance carrier. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Did I hear
Yeah. I
Wynn?
Second.
Second by Wynn. Thank you. Discussion? Any more information we need on that? Roll call, please.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. B, consider resolution appointing Lynn M. Knight and Kelly J. Hayworth as individuals representing the city.
Resolution appointing Lynn M. Knight and Kelly J. Hayworth as individuals to represent the city with the Iowa Communities Assurance Pool. Resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Freeman, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Peterson. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. And C, consider resolution approving Iowa Communities Assurance Pool as the city's cyber liability insurance carrier.
Resolution approving Iowa Communities Assurance Pool as the city's cyber liability insurance carrier. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Wynn. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Now, number 17, 7-year term extension proposal. Consider resolution.
Resolution approving a 7-year extension term proposal with Mission Square to provide the City of Coralville employees a Section 457 investment plan. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Freeman. Discussion?
I would just note there's no cost to the city for this. This is the fee paid by the employee for an additional deferred compensation program that's available to them.
Any idea why they lowered their fees so much? I mean, that's a.
It had been some time since they had looked at it, and then they decided that it was time for us to do that. And I think we got a few more participants along the way too.
Okay.
This ends up being a savings, correct?
Great, that's a savings for
the
staff.
employees.
For
Mhm.
staff. Roll call, please.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. 18 is Brown Deer Golf Course. Consider resolution.
Resolution rejecting all proposals for the operation of the food and beverage activities at the Brown Deer Golf Club. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Wynn. Discussion.
What are we rejecting?
We're rejecting a proposal. When we first started out with trying to look for a new food and beverage provider, our former food and beverage provider did not participate in the RFP process, and we got one proposal from a company out of New York State called Legacy Hospitality Group. Did not feel that company had a good plan for how they could have a local presence, a plan to prepare food for the banquet space, or a plan for hiring local management staff, as well as when we started calling references, we had some other golf courses did not have favorable things to say, so we're recommending to reject that proposal.
I think it's ironic that it's number 18.
That is.
Could be the 19th hole, though. That's what they got.
Roll call, please.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. B, consider resolution.
Resolution approving a license agreement with Bread Garden on Campus LLC for food and beverage operations at the Brown Deer Golf Club. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Peterson. Discussion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We're excited to be working with Bread Garden on campus. It took us quite a few attempts to try to really find somebody interested. We've learned a lot about the restaurant business in the last 9 months, and know that it's hard out there right now for them. So we think we've come up with a good agreement here at Brown Deer with Bread Garden. They're very interested in our banquet space, as well as helping us bring back the restaurant to not only a great experience for our golfers, but also our community neighbors, and trying to get it back into a neighborhood restaurant that people think about going to. So we are going to return the name of the lower level restaurant to Divots Bar and Grill. I put restaurant, sorry about that on your memo, but it's Divots Bar and Grill. Upper level will return to the name The Clubhouse at Brown Deer. Of course, Bread Garden is part of the Mondanero properties, and they have several restaurants with wonderful reputation, fabulous menus across the area, so we're excited to have them. This agreement starts on May 1st and goes through December 31st of 2030, and we have a lease structure with an escalation payment after a certain number of sales are met in that agreement, and that agreement was in your packets.
Great. Great.
I think
What are
it's
those
great
sales
that- Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
What's that?
Was you saying something?
I was going to ask what the sales escalation, where it starts to escalate, where,
The escalation is 7.5% when they reach 800,000 or greater in sales.
oh, for the whole year. It's
For
not
the
a
whole
monthly
year,
deal.
right. Mhm.
800,000.
And Sherry has that all in a note in our agenda packet. Thank you for all the details that we get. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Royce.
I think it's great that you were awarding this to a local business as opposed to an out-of-state business, so I think that's awesome.
Good. Very exciting. Roll call, please.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Water connection fees, number 19. Please read the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2026-1003, an ordinance amending sections 90.02 and 90.03 of the Code of Ordinances regarding water connection fees for residential services. This ordinance introduced for first consideration by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Peterson. And we have our Water Department Chair here to speak with us.
Good evening, everyone. Really pretty straightforward ordinance here. We're just updating our practices and our procedures. You can clearly see there. Long story short, we charge a water connection fee along with our building permit. That's a flat fee of $791. Our ordinances clearly state that we're providing the tap, the materials, and then covering overhead costs, things like that. Long story short, the materials alone are worth more than $791. So, changing the ordinance, we can inevitably roll back this fee by essentially having the contractors provide the materials. They're also doing the labor for the tapping. Essentially, Water Department would be providing the meter and inspection services only.
Great. Not often we lower. Yeah.
There you go.
Lower
Figured no
prices.
complaints.
Yeah, yeah. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Knutson?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Ordinance passes, all ayes. Number 20, electronic meeting policy. Please consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the revised electronic meeting policy. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Wynn. Discussion? Thank you, Kevin, for working on this, Kevin Olson. And again, that policy is in our packet. Roll call, please.
Quinn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Knutson?
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Next, we're so glad to have Josh Schomburger here. Thank you for sitting in on our meeting tonight. He will give the annual update, Convention Visitors Bureau, and also the Sports Commission with Nick Feisler. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Council and Mayor. My name's Josh Schamberger. I know all of you. President of Think Iowa City and the Iowa City Area Sports Commission, and Nick Pfeiffer is our VP of Public Affairs and pretty intimately involved in a lot of the state and legislative stuff that happens and trying to make sure we stay on top of the moving targets. So I'm here just to, as I do annually about this time, just to give you an update and overview of the past year for the Convention Visitors Bureau, or as we call these days, Destination Marketing Organization. And so happy to do that and answer questions, and I'll move through it just as fast as I can, but it's been a full year of activity and progress and challenges, but so I appreciate the time that you give me. I know it's been already a long evening with your long
We're
agenda
glad
there.
you're here. Thank
So,
you.
Move this to a slide here. Oh, Sherry, did I screw something up? It okay? Okay, Scott's here. He'll take care of it.
Very good.
Thanks, Scott. So just a reminder of who we are. We were created in 1980 when the Coralville and Iowa City both passed a hotel motel tax referendum. So we're to this day funded by hotel motel taxes, not local property taxes. So I joke when I give our presentation in front of those that aren't too familiar with what we do that unless you're in trouble and you're staying in a hotel room, you don't really contribute to our organization. We're funded by visitor taxes, and so we are organized for the purpose of advancing economic vitality and quality of life for residents and visitors as Iowa's premier destination. We do that through the 5 markets you see here up on the slide: individual and group leisure tourism, conferences and meetings, amateur sports, arts, culture and special events, and quality of life. Our organization leads by convening people and organizations across the region as a central hub for collaboration, prioritizing cooperation over competition, by acting with agility, identifying promising ideas and launching proof of concept faster than traditional institutions, certainly government. We can be a little bit more nimble when times get tough and you need us to realign our priorities in order to solve the needs of the day. And serving as the region's brand authority, tracking community evolution and promoting its authenticity, identity to potential visitors, authentic identity. We are governed by a board of directors. You can see everybody that's on our board on this lane. Mayor is on our board, as is Mayor of Iowa City. That's traditionally been the case there. And then we have representatives from all the cities in which we serve: Iowa City, Coralville, North Liberty, University Heights. We do have the county also on our board, although the county doesn't contribute to our organization. We're primarily from hotel motels. So Jake Moore is our current chair, and he's an executive with Green State. All of our work is done through 3 buckets. Everything that we do, sales and marketing, obviously, that's what we were born to do, is promote our destination and bring visitors to this community to enjoy it and hopefully stay, be part of this community. Authentic placemaking, and intentional community engagement. So just want to cover a couple of those areas and things that were highlights from this past year. And then again, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but also please interrupt me as always if there's something I'm not quite communicating effectively. So starting with sales and marketing, our biggest area of focus and things that people quickly associate with what we do. You bring that conference here, you bring that sporting event here, you brought girls state volleyball here. Yes to all of that. That's what we do. This past year, we serviced over 93,000 visitors that represented 67 different conferences, meetings, and amateur sporting events. Those visitors, while they were here in 2025, spent just short of $19 million on goods and services, hotels, food and beverage, retail, all of those visitor expenses. We closed 2025 with also a record number of future bookings. So when combined with future bookings still to be realized from 2024, our community is contracted to host 61 future conferences and meetings, 42 future sporting events and tournaments, just short of 146,000 future visitors, 41,000 room nights, and $38 million in future direct spending. So significant opportunities that have been realized. When I say last year and this year, most of the things that we book are on a 2 to 4 year cycle. So we book a conference or meetings for currently 2028 or 2029. These things don't happen usually in 1 year. They're too large scale. And so you get in a booking window and you bid against other regional cities or in some cases national, as I'll mention in a couple slides. We got next, this is some of our sports area, our community. As of recently, we were announced, I think the last time I was here, I said hopefully it'll be announced, but the city of Coralville was awarded and will be the future home of the Girls State High School Wrestling Dual Tournament, which kicks off next January, the first time ever. 16 Iowa girls high school teams will come here and wrestle to be considered the best team in the state. With the announcement of that one, we now host 10 state tournaments, which is significant. We actually feel we're getting a little pushback from other parts of the state politically because our team has done such a good job and has exceeded expectations, and people think we're getting an unequal share of the riches when it comes to hosting state tournaments. But we have been able to get that because our team's done really a great job and tried to exceed expectations, and more of those want to take place here. We continue to invest and build out the Bike Iowa City brand, most notably through major events like Core 4 and when Ragbri makes stops, but also through smaller community efforts like the Creekside Cyclocross event, the Brown Deer TT, which we started last year, which benefits the local Iowa City Bike Library, and ICOR. We do this with a constant eye on the future and supporting key destination management efforts. Most recently through investment and support of soon-to-be-realized University Heights Multi-Use Trail Plan and Burlington Street Bridge Replacement Study. Our reputation at Wrestletown USA continues to be significant. It was first established by our organization about 15 years ago, and it continues to provide a very, very strong return to this community, and particularly Coralville with the development of Extreme Arena. It continues to survive and is strengthened by our ability to promote the promise behind that brand, exceeding all expectations from the moment these international visitors arrive to the day that they leave. And I will tell you just personally, that's like the most rewarding thing. People say, well, what continues to challenge you? You've been doing this for a while. The opportunity that we've been afforded to welcome people from all over the world and provide them an experience that is unlike what they may have heard or been shared, and the reputation we currently are seeing as a nation is incredibly rewarding. There are people all over this world, from Ukraine, South America, Iran, Georgia, that know a different kind of United States from their time here in Coralville. And we saw that when we had the Ukrainians here petting the llamas in your lobby over the holidays. So it's continued to be a major economic and social impact here in our community. AI is impacting our industry just as it is everybody, and we continue to stay focused on that, closely tracking this rapidly evolving landscape. Like many, if not all of our peers across this broader information economy, we experience sustained and exponential growth across website and social media platforms. This past year, we recorded over 7 million impressions and 136,000 individual engagements with visitors and folks that are interested in coming to Coralville, Iowa City, or North Liberty. Authentic placemaking is that second bucket. And, you know, it's important to continue to clearly say who we are and who we represent as a community. And we continue to work towards that, supporting subgroups within the areas, neighborhoods, interest groups, and cultural groups, developing unique identities and placemakings within our community. Intentionally learning more about our residents, what they think, look for, and especially our newer neighbors that are migrating into Johnson County. And we have a lot of good examples of that over the past several years through our work with Better Together and our sponsoring of a lot of new festivals and initiatives. And then certainly leveraging our core pillars of our area's identity, the arts, athletics, and food. Just as we have supported and played a major role as an organization in the development of North Liberty's Centennial Park and Coralville's Extreme Arena, these next couple of years, we're getting very involved in a few other projects in the community. We recently finalized a plan that we helped fund that the city of University Heights adopted and is moving forward with on Bolton and Meek right away to develop a multi-use trail plan in the 36 acres just north of University Heights between there and Carver, all of that forested area, which is absolutely beautiful. And so we're excited to see that start moving forward in the coming years, and it's really made a nice connection because of its association with the existing trail network that connects Coralville and Iowa City. We are co-funding a study right now to the Johnson County Fairgrounds, which is very underutilized in this community, and it needs more support and assistance. And so we're providing that guidance, and hopefully we'll have some results of that study in the coming year on how we can leverage that asset and bring more agricultural-related, and not only that, but just more opportunities for business and associations to that area of town, which will create additional visitor impact. And then Nick has been intimately involved. We're very involved in Better Together 2030, and we've adopted and are overseeing Pillar 1, which is Champions of the Natural Environment. That's why you saw us leading the conservation bond renewal. We're very interested in staying on top of the Burlington Street Bridge replacement study, particularly as it relates to being able to have recreational access through that dam, which they have currently in the design plans for that area of town. Another area in placemaking is this program called Blend. Hopefully this will play, Scott, because I have a little sound associated with it. I guess we'll give it a try. But just a couple weeks ago, we started a brand new series called Blend, which really highlights our culinary assets that we have in this community. And we have it narrated by Nate Kading. He's kind of stepped up and thinks he's the Guy Fieri of Coralville with this show. And it done so well in its first year that we won the State Tourism Award. It's called a Geode Award. And hopefully this will play, but if not, you can go back and watch it on our website. And there's no sound, so I guess we'll skip that.
I think he's going to help you.
Oh, he's going to help me.
Yeah, John's a
short
miracle
video.
worker.
Blend of history, stories, characters, experience. The Iowa City area is a full blend of history, stories, characters, experiences, and last but not least, great food. I'm Nate Kading. You might remember me from kicking the football for the Iowa Hawkeyes and the San Diego Chargers. I grew up here and moved back to raise my family after my playing career was over. Through this series, I want to share with you the eclectic mix that makes my hometown such a unique place to live and to visit. This is Blend, an Iowa foodie experience.
So the first 2 episodes are out. We have 2 more coming. The second one featured Yuki Mira, who took us to a couple places in Solon, right, Nick? And in Sutliff. And it's been a lot of fun. We're trying to find all the diverse culinary cuisine in our community and then attach them to leaders in our community, maybe those that aren't really known, that are behind the scene. And it's done very, very well, and it's got a lot of visibility, obviously in its first year, to raise the attention of the Iowa Economic Development Office last week. Intentional community engagement, obviously Better Together 2030 is where we best touch this area of our focus and our business plan in that particular bucket. There's really continues to be not enough local awareness and understanding of what we do. We continue to try to work on this. 10 or 15 years ago, it was only really important that you all in Iowa City and North Liberty kind of knew what we did, because after all, we're a visitor tax and we want to show the return on the visitor tax. We didn't necessarily need to report out to the residents what we did because they didn't contribute, but that was really the wrong way to look at it. The more and more we've been engaging in our community, the more and more opportunities have been realized. A good example of that is Sunday here in town, who came to me in August a couple years ago and said, Josh, I've got this idea, African Folk Art Festival. I want to put it on. I'm like, this is awesome. When are you thinking about it? And he goes, in about a month and a half. And I'm like, you are insane. But we gave it a go, and it's obviously now just celebrated its second year, and we couldn't be more proud of our association with that, or some of these other ideas that have been born just by being a little bit more engaged in the local community as much as we are focused on the visitor community. And these are some of the other programs. Obviously, Sunday's Festival's up there in the upper left, but we're the original funders of Refocus Film Festival and Adaptation Film Fest at Film Scene, Fire and Ice, North Liberty, a lot of these sort of activities. This is another program series that we started last year to bring greater awareness to the local artists that are in this community, entrepreneurs that are doing great things. I don't know if this one's going to play. It doesn't look like it. But we have a 1-minute series on different artists. They're on our website. I really encourage you to look at that. We're going to continue to spotlight that and highlight these individuals that are really making and bring Iowa City the attention that it's received. Likewise, we were the founding sponsors of Iowa City Free Week in downtown. This was the second year. We're really looking forward to finding ways to expand that across Coralville and North Liberty as well, and bringing greater awareness to arts and culture venues and programming, and provide complimentary attendance over the course of a week so we can further engage the community in the cultural and arts richness that we enjoy here in this community. This slide I put up here because obviously we passed Lost. It was a big part of last year. A person in our office, Stacy Houtsman, really led the campaign. Tag team with Sherry. And we couldn't have been prouder with the results for Iowa City, Coralville, and North Liberty. And this is another area of quality life, intentional community engagement that it's important for us to be engaged in, even though it doesn't directly tie with bringing visitors to putting them in heads and beds in hotel rooms. It's an important part of destination development and community development, and so we were honored to dedicate time. And not only that, excuse me, half of the budget was contributed by our organization for the campaign that passed Lost in all three communities. So at the end, I just want to talk about a couple slides that are really important. Usually I have these in the beginning, but these are the ones I want to make sure I leave you behind with. Last year, visitors spent over $714 million in Johnson County. $714 million was spent in this community from people that don't reside with zip codes in this community. So it is significant, the impact that visitors have on this community. $104 million in local and state taxes, and hotel motel tax across the three communities contributed over $6.5 million. At least 50% of that goes directly into your general funds. State says you have to spend 50% of it in tourism, quality of life, those sort of initiatives. You do that through the 25% that gets passed through to us from those collections, and then the other 25% easily gets contributed to all of the good work that Sherry Proud's team does with trails and parks and recreation, which are a big part of that. For every $1 of hotel motel tax that was passed through to us, all of those efforts that our sales teams brought in showed a return last year of $18.60 to the community at large. So it is a significant return. This particular picture here was the very first time, just a neighborhood over in North Liberty, that we got so big with the NCAA women's wrestling that was happening in Coralville that we had to have another venue to put on 2 other tournaments at the same time. So the U17 Pan Am team trials, so all the best under 17-year-old girls and boys in the country came here, wrestling in North Liberty in order to make the team that competes in Panama next weekend for Team USA. And we had another event over there, Club Nationals. This is the 10-year track of Hotel Motel Tax. Not surprisingly, you all are the blue. So you could see the other cities there. The black would be Iowa City in terms of collections. The green is North Liberty. They have 1 hotel, so it is what it is. University Heights also has 1 hotel, but you could see on the last couple of years there's a big difference between University Heights and North Liberty, and that's really because of location and flag. You have a Courtyard by Marriott across the street from the hospitals and Kinnick Stadium versus a Sleep Inn and Suites are in Exit 4 in North Liberty. So it's not to say one is better than the other. It's just the nature of business and the travelers. And I should say the last one is a projection. Based on where we're trending right now, we feel really good that this will be the highest collecting year for the city of Coralville in history by when June rolls around. So what's next? There's a few big things on the docket that I wanted to call your attention to, and then I'll be happy to answer questions. There's a lot more behind this, but there's a couple slides here in particular. We are hosting the Pan American Championships. I hope all of you save the date, and everybody that's watching save the dates. We are really, really looking forward to rolling out the red carpet, especially now in the world that we're living in, to all of these countries from South, Latin, and Central America, or South, Central, and North America. Nick's handing out some bag tags that we'll be sending to all the federations here soon as they travel with their bags. This has been no easy lift, particularly right now with Nick, who's spending day and night communicating with countries, particularly Cuba, Venezuela, Ecuador, Argentina. We have daily communications with them, not only to tell them that we can't wait to roll out the red carpet like they've never seen, especially in light of things that are happening, but just to make sure that they get the appropriate visas and appointments, and we welcome them into Iowa. So we're really looking forward to it. We will welcome 30 nations for the better part of a week. 2 of the nations actually arrive here April 20th, believe it or not. Argentina and Ecuador are coming here and going to be staying for a little over 2 weeks before the Pan Am Games in Coralville and training. So we will have the Argentina and Ecuadorian federations here before the May 7th through 10th Pan American Championships. And then bananas, everybody knows about the Savannah Bananas. We hear enough about it. We get asked about tickets every day. We don't have tickets, but we were second to only Boise State in the United States with number of ticket requests. Over 440,000 tickets were requested for the Savannah Bananas in Kinnick Stadium. So we expect a very, very busy weekend. I am working with them very hard right now to make sure that they can attend the Coralville 4th of July parade, which would be a big deal. They are playing the firefighters. So it'd be great to have the other team come too and sit on all the fire trucks. I'm sure Ori would appreciate that. It's not only sports. Conferences are a big part of what we do. This summer, in June and July, we will welcome the largest conferences to ever come to this community. The first one will arrive in June and predominantly be in downtown Iowa City, although they have hotel blocks, plenty of them in Coralville. This is the National Criminal Defense College. They will be here for the better part of 2 weeks and bring between 3,500 and 4,000 room nights over the month of June, over that time. And then in July, we will welcome the Catholic Daughters of America Conference, something we booked about 2 years ago. They will bring about 3,500 room nights, and they will be headquartered at the Hyatt in Coralville. So significant pieces of business. These are just, again, 2 of the larger ones. I think a couple months ago or a month ago, I showed you the whole laundry list of everything else that'll be coming over the next 6 months. I didn't bring my water, but with that, I'll be happy to. I'll survive. I'm good, Mike.
Okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions. I want to thank you. I know many of you showed up, particularly that Ukraine night when you handed flowers to the Ukrainians on stage. That was a big deal. They remember it. They talk often about the llama. They send their photos of them with Coralville that night. And I just appreciate everything you do, and you're always willing to show up at all these events and say thank you and represent the city. And it means it means a lot. Thank you very much. Went as fast as I could.
Great. Any comments? Just
I would really like to thank Josh and the whole team at the CVB. We're really fortunate to have them as a partner, and that shows in the numbers. And anyone who's attended one of the state tournaments here in Coralville or Iowa City knows what an experience they make that, and why they keep coming back, and why state sports want to have their tournaments here. So it's really a testament to all of their work and skill, and we appreciate it deeply.
I agree. You've totally made it a hub of hospitality.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate it. And I meant to say this, Ellen, at the start. I even told Sherry and asked Sherry if it's okay. She said yes. But I just really want to thank you. You've dedicated a lot of your time, your professional career, and service to this city over many, many years, and you will be greatly missed. It'll be a hard seat to fill there as an assistant, but I wish you the best, and obviously you're not going far, so we'll continue to work with you. But I appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you so much, Josh and Nick, for coming. We need to consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented, A through KK.
So moved.
Moved by Peterson,
Second.
second by Knutson. Roll call, please.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
It passes all ayes, right? And next, I'm finding my place here. Josh, you started it, so we'll continue talking to Ellen a little bit. It's unfortunately Kelly was on a trip for over spring break, and he'll be back soon. But we're so fortunate to have Ellen with us as our deputy city clerk. And I just want to say congratulations, Ellen, on your new position as executive director of the East Central Iowa Council of Governments. This is a wonderful opportunity, and I have no doubt that you'll do an outstanding job. And tonight, it's truly bittersweet. While we're grateful that you'll still be nearby, as Josh said, I know, and many others will say this too, that we will deeply miss the daily conversations and connections we've shared with you. For 21 years, you have dedicated your talents and expertise to the city of Coralville. Your leadership has shaped this community in countless ways, and your fingerprints are truly on so much of what makes Coralville what it is today. You've made communication a priority, leading a citywide marketing plan and advancing improvements in technology, telecommunications, and connectivity. You've worked seamlessly alongside Kelly, department heads, and community partners, always fostering collaboration and progress. Your efforts have opened doors to grant opportunities, capital improvement projects, and innovative programs that have strengthened our city. From your work on Coralville's comprehensive community plan to helping build and continually enhance the hotel and conference center, and supporting numerous roads and infrastructure projects, you have played a key role in Coralville's growth and prosperity. You have also been a tireless advocate for affordable housing, helping secure grants and create opportunities while serving in leadership roles, including your work with the Housing Trust Fund of Johnson County. And beyond the big accomplishments, it's the small, meaningful traditions that speak volumes about who you are. Walking in the 4th of July parade each year, helping pick up candle bags after luminary nights. Those moments reflect your character and your genuine commitment to this community. This is only a snapshot of your many contributions. Your friendly spirit, steady leadership, and voice of reason have left a lasting impact, not only on the work we do, but on the relationships you've built along the way. While we will miss you, we are excited to see all that you will accomplish in your new role. We look forward to continuing to working with you and value your insight as you lead ECOG. We truly hope you'll stay in touch. Thank you, Ellen, for everything you've given to Coralville. Your legacy here will not be forgotten. So we congratulate you and wish you all the very best. This will be Coralville's loss. This is Ellen's last meeting with us, so.
That was very unexpected, and I very much appreciate it, Mayor, and I'll miss all of you, and I'll miss Coralville, but yeah, I'm not going very far, and there's so much to be excited about here.
Thank you. I had a couple things. We want to promote the Fourth Fest auction. That's this Saturday. The doors open at 4:30 and the auction is 5:30. There's a number of baskets out already that have come in, and there's wonderful things that have been donated, and really neat gifts and things that can be auctioned off at the Fourth Fest auction, and that will be at Brown Deer Golf Club. Jesus Christ Superstar, as we saw, we're looking forward to another weekend of that. You can buy tickets yet. And then the other thing that Ellen's involved with is the ECOG. It's a first-time homeowners down payment assistance program, and that is now open and accepting applications. The down payment assistance is available for low to moderate income households and may include minor home rehabilitation. You can get all that information on the website coralville.org. City Attorney's report.
I have nothing other than Ellen and I will be commiserating with our rotten baseball teams this year. So,
Starting this week.
starting this week, yes.
Committee and council members report. I was thinking maybe Mike, would you like to start?
Sure can. I just want to echo your comments, Mayor, about Ellen and how much she'll be missed and how much all of her work for in many, many areas, but certainly in affordable housing, I think we all really appreciate. And I think that's all I got.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, just want to echo what the mayor have said about Ellen. We'll miss you for sure. Thank you for all that you do for Coralville. And we're glad that you are not far away and continue to get to work with us. With that, I hope that we can start talking about succession plan for some of the position that it's critical to the work of the city, of keeping the city going. There's a lot of institutional knowledge with our staff, and so with the natural succession of things, staff will move on, and I hope that we have a plan in place so that when new staff come in, they can build on the foundation that has already been laid instead of starting over. So if we can, make some time to talk about succession plan for staff, that would be great. And then just wanted to let the community know that there is a community meal that will take place this Friday at the Coralville Public Library from 5 to 7. The theme is Celebrate Diversity. However you would like to interpret that. It is free and open to everyone. So please, if you have not made dinner plan, come and eat with us. There will be delicious food from many different regions. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Royce Peterson.
Yeah, so I haven't got to work with you very long, Ellen, but I can tell you that your knowledge is amazing. Your way of explaining things in layman's terms for simple people like me to understand, and able to communicate back to the public. And I talk about like the Interstate 80 interchange when we did the Diamond. The stuff that you told me, that your knowledge on all that is just it's amazing, and you will be very missed. And so like I said, just pretty much echoing what everybody else said, but please, I know you'll continue to help the community in your endeavors, and thank you for everything you've done for this community. So, thank you.
Counselor Freeman, Katie.
I'll echo what everyone said, except I don't know you very well. Didn't get much time to work with you. But I am thankful for the work you've done with affordable housing. I've heard quite a bit in some of my work that I've been working on, so thank you. I did just want to add some quick comments. So tonight we did have the proclamation for Trans Day of Visibility, and it was great to see so many members of the community here to celebrate that. Right now, the transgender community needs moments like these to celebrate. Just this month, a third red flag warning was given, saying the U.S. genocide of transgender folks has moved beyond just trying to remove us from public life and into trying to eradicate our existence, not just here, but worldwide. And this is not just a theoretical statement. It's reality. Here in our community, rights have been removed, and members of the community are feeling the real impact. I have stories from community members and from myself of harassment and discrimination within this county and this city, solely based on how we present ourselves in the world. So yes, now more than ever, we need moments of celebration of joy and of recognition. So I'm glad to have Coralville join Iowa City and Johnson County and other entities across the state in recognizing the importance of Trans Day of Visibility, saying we recognize the value of a diverse community, which includes transgender folks. It always has and it always will. So I want to say to the trans community, it's time to take this time and be with queer and trans community. We really need to belly laugh, hug, cry, ugly cry, all the things. And a perfect place to do that is at the TAC Social tomorrow night at Sacred Collective in Iowa City from 5 to 7 p.m. And there's snacks, and it's just a place for community and to get to know more about what TAC does and if anybody's interested in participating. That's all I have.
Thank you, Katie. Motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to, so moved, sorry.
Motion by Peterson.
I don't know what I was trying to say.
Yeah, seconded by? Second by Wynn. Roll call? Oh, voice. Everyone agree?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.